Yo, what up? It's ORRION Online. That's Orion Online. Follow me on Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, and we're here for another round of Homeboy Talk. Let's talk that talk.
Yo, what's going on, people? Welcome back to Homeboy Talk. My name is Deon Donovan, writer and creator of the infamous Florida Man at Title Page Comics. I'm also on YouTube with Behind the Scene Podcast, and this is my homeboy.
What's going on, everybody? This is your homeboy, Daniel Stinette, a.k.a. 𝐀𝐔𝐃. You can catch me on 𝐀𝐔𝐃 Gaming on YouTube as well as Twitch. Like, follow, and subscribe. Let's talk that talk.
Breaking news. So, normally this is the year where, conventions are supposed to be happening, and these days conventions are virtual, But there's one convention that normally we usually go to in person, but it was supposed to be virtual. But breaking news is I heard it was canceled. I just got to get your input on that, bro.
What's the inside news, man? Why was MAGfest canceled, bro? What's going
So,
on?
pretty much, off the bat, conventions in general were canceled because of the coronavirus, obviously. So when you got a whole bunch of dirty ass weebs all together in one area, that's just a breeding ground for, whatever disgusting super disease or whatever is like that. Normally on a good day, now you got coronavirus and it's actually real, so they got it going on. But the reason why MAGfest in particular was canceled and the virtual MAGfest was canceled is because there was a huge scandal that kind of popped up.
Shit.
There's a website called Friends of Mag, or MAGfest, Music and Games Festival, .com, where people who are very intimate with the situation inside of MAGfest and what happened with the board of directors and the main people who fund that whole entire thing ended up happening. But to make a long story short, what ended up happening is that there was apparently a widespread systemic pattern of abuse from the board of directors and a guy by the name of Paul Bertel, who was like the head person of MAGfest, to where going off of the Friends of Mag website, the concerns you had things ranging from abuse of power by the board and executive director, financial neglect of the organization, mismanagement by the board and the director, verbal and emotional abuse by the director, repeated and blatant disregard for community wishes and desires, and perpetuating a harmful environment with no accountability, amongst all those things. And, we're talking about people who officially worked for MAGfest filing actual complaints with HR, and those, complaints being dismissed, being made, light of, swept under the rug. I heard that apparently there at one point, one of the employees that came out, and I guess a higher person up in the organization came out and was like, try to tell HR, look, this is what's going on with the board and this Paul Bertel guy. We need y'all to step in. Well, apparently the very next day she had her official review, and they gave her official review and was like, oh, well, you've been doing this and this and that, so we're gonna fire you.
Damn.
So basically retaliation and like a whole bunch of stuff going on, and it was such a huge scandal and everything going on that they just decided, they're like, you know what, we're gonna cancel it, and we're gonna go ahead and take a look at ourselves and see what needs to be changed and change what needs to happen to move forward. Fast forward to now, apparently from what I heard, they let go of all three of the original board of directors.
Damn.
And they hired three new ones. However, Paul Bertel, the main villain in this story, is still the head of MAGfest. So it makes you think, did they really change anything? Or did they give the illusion that they changed something like that so that they could, calm down concerned people who want to possibly come to MAGfest later on, or don't want to come to MAGfest because of what they heard? And so that's basically the rundown of what happened there with MAGfest and why there's no MAGfest probably for the upcoming future.
So this man is literally the Lex Luthor of MAGfest.
Pretty much.
And did a political move to fire other people, but not, of course, get rid of himself, and a move to make it appeal to your average consumer. Like, oh yeah, MAGfest changed up. They fired some people and they're going to reform and MAGfest will be great again. And that's simply not the case because he's still the HNIC over there. So Okay, I see why they skipped this year for sure, especially with a virtual convention.
So what you're telling me is it's almost identical to what Evo has.
Well, Evo is a different situation because
Evo has done
because
their reputation is tarnished for
Mr. Wizard over here couldn't keep his
Mr. Me Too.
Oh God, he couldn't keep his little wizard to himself, especially his joystick and buttons to himself when it came to children. So that's the reason why Evo is done. Now, granted, I don't think Evo's gonna be done forever. I feel like they removed him. They're probably gonna bring somebody else to continue it, and then they're gonna restart it when things get better with the pandemic and whatnot. But this one is more so. It wasn't really like any big scandal like sexual assault or he's a pedophile or anything else like that. It's just more so like a gross abuse of power and trying to suppress people who talked against them so that they could keep things running smoothly and not be challenged. And it just got to the point where just too many people knew about it and they're like, look, this is what's going on. And to save face, they went ahead and shut down MAGfest and tried to do their own thing, but it's not sounding like things are really changed yet.
Is MAGfest corporate owned?
I believe they are either a non-for-profit or a for-profit organization or something like that. So it's not like an actual business.
Because corporations, there's usually shareholders and investors involved and stuff like that. Now, I didn't want to make sure. I didn't want to see if MAGfest was encountering issues of losing shareholders and investors.
No. MAGfest isn't a. Yeah, so MAGfest Incorporated is a 501 non-profit organization.
Okay.
So basically, it's almost the same as like any other non-profit organization, like some of these conventions around here that we go to and stuff like that, where basically the money that they're getting is not for them profiting. It's basically them, the money that they get from merchandise, ticket sales, all that stuff like that. It goes towards funding the next year's event, and or if they want to give to donation and stuff like that, what have you. So they're not actually making any money off it. Now, how much of that is true for MAGfest, I'm not sure.
Quote unquote.
I feel like if you're abusing this much power and you got stuff going on, it's because there's money involved somewhere going on. Somebody is either getting a bigger cut and somebody's not liking it, and now the chickens are coming home to roost. But yeah, in terms of MAGfest, that's what they say. They say they're non-profit.
Okay.
Now this seems to be sort of the abuse of power. Seems to be a little bit of a trifecta effect of like the Me Too movement, because we had Ellen DeGeneres got hit with this last year with her own show, saying how she's a horrible person, she's bossy, she's unruling. I wouldn't even say it cost her show, but it was bad press, very bad press for her and her television programming and branding. So we're almost seeing similar effects scatter throughout the convention circuit now, where it's not just Me Too allegations, it's now abuse of power, they're treating me wrong, they're doing this and this and that behind the scenes and such forth. So going forth, I mean, these convention owners or these people, these heads of the head of these boards or whatever, they need to be a little bit more cautious of the way they're talking to people and conversing with them, because it might come back to bite them in the ass come 2022, 2023 when cons come back to normal and they're back on the con circuit, So this shit's kind of wild, man. The con circuit's kind of changing in terms of its what you can get away with, what you can't anymore, Everything's underneath the magnitude of the public eye. So,
well, I mean, I think that comes down to, we live in a different time now, because, I mean, y'all can agree from like 2000 to about 2012, 2013-ish, it was kind of like this, I don't know how to describe it. It was kind of like a resurgence of a combination of the 80s and 90s, but it was like it was like this new age feel where we're in the 2000s now. Things are a little bit more different. Society's a little bit more different. We're a little bit more extreme. You know what I mean? It's like I guess it's the best way to describe it. So stuff that back in the 2000s, going into the 2010s, that you could get away with, you can't get away with that kind of stuff anymore. You know what I mean? People are a lot more PC. People are a lot more cognizant of stuff that people say and people do and stuff like that and everything else like that. Like that whole dude bro culture that pervaded all throughout the 2000s. Like that kind of stuff gets crapped on from great heights now. Like, oh, so you want to be a meathead? Okay, well, we'll show you what happens to meatheads. You get canceled now. You know,
Right,
like, oh,
right.
you want to be a bigot and a racist or a sexist? Well, we'll show you what happens to bigots and sexists and racists. You get canceled. And so, you know, that kind of, you know, HNIC, I can do whatever I want because the people love me. You don't get that kind of that kind of shine anymore. I mean, look at your boy.
Vic.
That's exactly what I was going to say.
Yep.
Vic Mignogna.
Vic
This guy was on top of the world in the 2000s.
couldn't be touched.
Could not be touched. Everybody loved him. Very personable. You know, voiced in some of the most iconic anime out there. And then what happened? People started coming out and saying, guess what? Me too. Vic was doing this to me. Vic was doing that to me. And then the whole entire thing with his fight with Funimation and him getting fired and that whole entire thing. So it's like you can't get away with that stuff anymore. I mean, who's somebody else that recently had what's the guy's name? Ruben something, the voice actor for Dante and Devil May Cry.
Oh shit, he got caught up too.
Apparently, this dude is a hardcore, you know, right-wing, MAGA-leaning Trump supporter and a whole bunch of other crazy, and just saying a whole bunch of crazy stuff. And people are sitting here like, dude, you're Dante from Devil May Cry. Like, how are you a piece of shit? But basically, he is, and it's like, you know, at this point, it's a lot of people are being exposed.
What's so funny you mentioned that because I was paying attention to the news of what's going on Twitch to hear that Pop Champ got erased.
Yeah.
Like
𝐏𝐿𝐋𝐃.
basically to people who are not familiar to Twitch streams and stuff like that, it's an emote that is related to a I forgot the name of that streamer's name, but it's Pop.
The guy's name is 𝐏𝐿𝐋𝐃. He was a well-known fighting game player who turned into more of a announcer / kind of like tournament organizer. And during one of his streams, he made a very funny face that somebody took a picture of and turned it into an emote that whenever certain stuff happens on Twitch, people in the chat just start spamming this emote to show their pleasure or displeasure.
Basically, it's a shock when somebody is shocked to see something. It's
Like a shock face.
Okay.
And apparently, even this guy came out and was saying like some right-wing conspiracy theory type stuff and was just being dumb. And Twitch was like, you know what, guy, we're taking your emote off because we can't have you over here influencing people and everything else like that. So it's like, you know, just society in general has just changed to where you kind of have to be you have to be a lot more careful of what you say because there's always going to be somebody who's you possibly could offend. Now, whether or not you look at that as that's society getting weaker than before, I don't know. I mean, it would be hypocritical of me to be like, well, you know, I think that these guys are okay saying what they want to say, but then me turn around and get mad at somebody saying nigga. You know what I'm saying? So there has to be that balance there, you know. But at the same time, it's just, you know, especially with conventions and with all the scandals, sexual assault and pedophilia and all this other stuff going on.
That's
and
business.
stuff like
you
that.
You can't have that in business.
You know, you can't have that in business. And you know, if shutting down this convention and cleaning up your house before you open it back up to public is what needs to happen, then go ahead and take care of it. But don't blow smoke up our butt saying that, okay, we took out all 3 of the old board members of the organization, replaced them with 3 brand new members. Oh, who's the head guy over all of them? Oh, it's the same guy from last time. So did anything really change? No, you're just trying to save face and trying to calm down people who were coming because now you're going to lose out on that slice of pie from the money that you get from the convention. And so, you know, and pretty much from what I've heard, the people who run the website that I mentioned, they're not going to be happy until this guy is gone. Once he's gone, then they can feel like real progress is being made.
Fatality.
Well, this was on the conversation you and I talked about, Deon, about conventions with the whole, you know, the chickens coming to roost for some of these people who's been doing shit from the start, you know? Because, you know, we've seen Evil have his challenges and stuff like that. And it's going to be a point in time where some of these conventions conventions that you guys are known, that are well known in your local community or well known nationwide, they're going to be looked with a magnifying glass, you know? They're going to be with a close eyes. Like, is y'all board of directors on point? Are they PC, or, you know, are they competent to understanding what's been going on lately and stuff like that? So everybody's going to be like checking under people's noses and stuff like that, making sure it's clean, because shit is popping up. So your local convention, stuff like that, you know, it might be like, oh man, it's a safe haven place for everybody to have fun and stuff like that. But maybe if the board of directors or executives or investors and stuff like that that's involved in some fuck shit and stuff like that, then, you know, it could be a convention that you love going, could just be wiped from the face of the earth because of the fuck shit, you know. And it's going to be one of those scary things that we have to be aware of, you know, because, you know, it can happen to your local conventions at any time. You know, if the founder or whatever the fuck does something messed up, that's not just the end of that guy, it's the end of that convention. And, you know, and which would be a sad loss to the city, because when you have a convention in the city, you know, that's the revenue that you're bringing in to that, you know, to that city. And once that convention alters and stuff like that, then they're going to be dependent on other stuff that's going to be happening, you know. And the people who worked so hard on a cosplay is seeing that they have to erase something off of their calendar and shit like that. It's a sad day for them, you know. Right. Or for somebody else is just anticipating just to have a weekend escape to go out and do something. Like I said, I want to go play games with random people, like the arcade days, you know. Like MAGfest is that element for us to do that. Like to meet new faces or go out and hang out with familiar people, or, you know, and just be yourself. But once you start erasing elements to, you know, to be yourself and stuff, you know, then it's like, you know, what can you do? Rather you have the money to start your own shit, or what, you know?
Yeah, that's a lot of revenue lost over not controlling your own urges, whether it be physically or verbally. You know what I mean? Yeah. That's a lot of money lost for just saying, you know what, I'm gonna go for it. So, I mean, do you guys got anything else to say about the subject, about MAGfest being postponed, or not even postponed, just axed for the year?
Well, initially, I want to talk about like virtual conventions in general and stuff like that. You know, virtual conventions is one of the things that's like, I get that it's an open revenue, just try to keep that close community together virtually and stuff like that. But we all know it ain't the same as going to an actual convention, you know. So for some of these virtual conventions, it's also a easy generated revenue with donations, you know, just to help with the losses that they have to take. Because I don't even know if some of these conventions are going to be able to recover well after almost 2 years of cancellations now, you know. Yeah, so I just hope that, you know, whatever funds they had on the side to book that same convention and recruit those dealers and the guests, you know, because the guests is probably the most expensive factor of booking these conventions, stuff like that, you know. So we just hope that these people have kept the money that they made from 2019 on the side, you know, to invest in 2022, whatever the fuck conventions come back to normal. But man, these virtual convention stuff like that, like, I get what they're doing and stuff like that, man, but it ain't the same. And we just hope that when the world comes back to normal and stuff like that, we come back to these conventions and it's just going to be like, it ain't missed a step, you know. It's like it's back to normal. We just hope, you know.
Yeah. I mean, I get it. These conventions have to do something because they have to do something, right? It's business. You can't just walk away and say, okay, fuck it, that's it. No, they have to attempt to get some kind of money, some kind of revenue going. But in all honesty, it's bullshit. I mean, I barely go to fucking panels in person, so how are you going to get me to go to a panel virtually if I don't even go there when I'm actually at the convention? So, I mean, good luck to them. Good luck to all these anime conventions, comic conventions, any conventions out there who are trying to hold on till when the beer bug goes away or whatever, you know what I'm saying? Because it's tough times. It's tough times. Everyone's trying to adapt. And, you know, when people are quarantined and are bored and start reflecting also about, you know what? this motherfucker really was out of pocket for saying this shit to me. You know, people have more time to reflect on some shit. So, you know, that could be also the cause of some of these allegations that are coming out. Could be out of boredom, could be out of just people self-reflecting on themselves and thinking that, you know, that was not really necessary and I shouldn't accept that. And now that I'm not actually physically in front of that person, now that I don't have to deal with that person, it's less intimidating to say something behind the screen than it is to do it in person, especially when you have it coming up, especially when you have so many people relying on it. You see the joy of your friends, like, oh, I'm so happy to go to MAGfest, such and such and such. It's harder to speak up about it knowing that you're going to affect their happiness. You're going to affect everyone else's, you know what I'm saying, energy towards the convention. So now that you're at home, now that you have a computer screen in front of you, now that no one's going to go to it anyway, it's a lot easier to speak up about these things from a certain perspective. So, I mean, that's all I got to say about MAGfest and these other conventions going on forth. What you got, Daniel?
I mean, there's not really much to be said. You know what I mean? Like, conventions as of right now are done. We're not going to have a convention anytime soon. Not until at least we get vaccines out at a decent clip to where people are getting vaccinated. Virtual conventions are trash because while I understand that they need to make money somehow, there's nothing going to replicate that feeling of actually being able to go to a convention center, being able to see people cosplaying, being able to go to a dealer's room, being able to go to panels and autograph sessions, and it's never going to replace that. And so, you know, more power to these organizations out here trying to make money and stuff like that and whatnot. But, you know, once things get back to normal after the pandemic, like, I'm just going to need y'all to stop sexually harassing people. I'm going to need y'all to stop going after children. I'm going to need y'all to stop abusing your power. And I'm going to need y'all just to be just decent human beings. And if you be a decent human being and do the right thing, guess what? You're going to profit. It's that simple.
Hashtag hands on the controller.
All right, that's the end of our podcast. Like and comment, dislike if you ain't feeling this content. Download discussion from the SoundCloud. Big shout out to you for being a part of the crowd. Follow us on every popular social media on the platform in the description below.
Thanks, y'all, for lending your ears for another episode. Subscribe.